everybody, my name's Mike Montgomery, and today I'd like to show you how I built these DIY concrete weight plates on Modern Builds. In a recent episode, I built this entire DIY home gym, including these concrete weight plates. I made each of these 69-pound concrete weights out of a 5-gallon bucket, and they look and function really well. But they are just a little bit too tall and narrow to be super pro. I'm gonna be using these trash cans that I picked up from Home Depot. They've got these handles molded into the bottom, which should be really convenient. The first thing I did was mark a line all the way around my trash can at 6 inches. That way I could cut it shorter with my jigsaw. This cut doesn't need to be perfect. We're gonna make sure that it's well above our fill line, but it will give us more access. And you can see in this shot how I sort of plunge cut into the trash can with the jigsaw. This 2-inch wide Schedule 40 PVC is what we're gonna use to create the inner sleeve of our weight plates. This slides right over an Olympic weight bar perfect, but we do need to create some grooves in it with a round file. That way it can grab onto the concrete and it'll never slide out. I used one of my favorite adhesives, Loctite Power Grab, to attach the PVC to our mold. This particular adhesive sets really quickly, and I just wanted to make sure that it was sitting square in my mold, and then I taped it down so it had a little downward pressure. I'm using standard Quikrete concrete mix for these weights, and I measured out 41.8 pounds. I wasn't sure if there would be a little bit of moisture in these weights, and I didn't want them to be more than 45 pounds, so I thought this would be a good idea. And before you comment, yes, I am using a bathroom scale, but I ordered a good one online, which should be here soon. I like using one of these plastic tubs from Home Depot and a shovel to mix up my concrete. The goal here should be to mix it thoroughly, but to have it as dry as possible. If you're pouring a concrete pad or sidewalk and your mix is a little too watery, you can always screed that excess off. But we want to be really material efficient with this pour. That's why I'm being so careful. That way our weights are as similar as possible. I packed everything as tight as I could by hand, and then I came back with a couple of hammers and knocked out air bubbles. After that, I set the first plate to the side, and I repeated those same steps on the second. And I'll be sure to leave a link in the description to all of the tools, materials, and supplies you'll need for this project. I'll also be sure to leave a link below to all of my Ariat workwear favorites. I'm wearing their boots, denim, and work shirts, and I love it all. And pro tip, using a jigsaw is one of the best ways to knock out the air bubbles in a concrete mold. Check it out. So these concrete plates have been in their mold probably for a month, so they are 100% cured. Let's take them out. I didn't use any type of spray release before these pours, but the plastic is flexible enough that I was able to remove them easily. It's funny how sawdust works its way into everywhere, even in these concrete molds as they were curing, but I was so excited with how these looked. After I punched out the center of each of the plates, I then used what's called a flush trim saw to cut the PVC so that it was flush with the concrete. And then I could slide them onto a bar and see how they look. Super pro. And while I was waiting on this concrete to cure, I made sure to order one of these postal scales online. That way we can get a really accurate measurement. But before we weigh these, I'd like to give a big thanks to the sponsor of today's episode, Squarespace. If you need a website, an online store, or just a custom domain, Squarespace is your one-stop shop. And the best part is you need zero website building experience. I'm serious, if you can upload files and drag and drop text blocks, you are well on your way to a one-of-a-kind site. Squarespace's designer templates look amazing right out of the gate, and they're packed with awesome features like unlimited products in Squarespace stores, built-in search engine optimization, and really robust analytics. Plus, Squarespace sites are designed to look great on desktop, tablet, and mobile no matter where customers find you. And if you follow the link right now in my description, that is squarespace.com/modernbuilds, you can build out your entire Squarespace site before entering any of your credit card info. And then when it's time to make your website live, make sure and use my code ModernBuilds for 10% off your first site, store, or domain. One more huge thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode. Now let's get back to the build. And right off the bat, the built-in handles are a huge upgrade. And this first plate, 41.8. I think that's exactly how much dry mix I used. Interesting. Okay. Number 2 is 41.7. Yes! And that is insane. I was doing a little bit of Googling to figure out what the tolerance is with normal weight plates. And for most, it's about 3%. The cheap ones have a 5% tolerance on weight. And that's crazy because a 45-pound plate could be off by up to like 2 pounds. And I know that these aren't 45 pounds, but they're a 0.1 pound away from being exactly the same, which is more important. So there you have it. The concrete weights are perfectly symmetrical, which is really important, plus they weigh the exact same as our dry mix. I thought they'd be a little heavier due to a little moisture content, but maybe the little bit that I spilled during mixing and pouring accounts for that. Either way, we saved a ton of money too. A cheap pair of 45-pound plates will run about 150 bucks, but a good set from Rogue are over 300, and that's a lot more than the $6 in concrete that I spent. So as always, thanks a ton for watching. I'll leave a link to the full DIY home gym in the description. Be sure to like, comment, and click subscribe and the notification bell down below, and we will see you next time on Modern Builds.